Beaming live on a radio rope from a world near you, it's CKNWR radio station, servicing the city of Adobe skyscraper, the surrounding Etobicoke County, and if weather permits, even further than that. This week's episode of This Evening's Show was originally aired March 7th, 1987, and is a look in the daily life of the Commodore, the comatose dictator of the floating cruise ship city of Lost Cruzes. We'll also look at the daily interactions of his 24-hour nursing staff and their interpretation of his synthetic brainwave into mind-blowing synthetic brainwave messages. Welcome to This Evening's Show. I'm John Starboard, joined by Louis Mastodon.
Hello, thank you for joining us.
Tonight we're going to be talking about the interesting location out in Tonga Bay known as Lost Cruzes, a popular tourist destination and a place where a lot of people like to go to retire.
And an independent city-state.
It is an independent city-state not affiliated with the state of Wonderful Land, and because of that, things are a little different out on Lost Cruzes. And to give us a little bit of an insight on how Lost Cruzes came to be, we've brought in a historian, Brian Fabenasa from the Adobe College here in town, and he's going to tell us where'd Lost Cruzes come from anyways.
Yes, thanks for bringing me on tonight. Lost Cruzes is a great location because it's so fascinating in terms of what it happened.
What do you know about Lost Cruzes? What can you tell us?
Well, first of all, Lost Cruzes is located in a very specific location in Tonga Bay known as Neptune's Net. And Neptune's Net is sort of like a modern-day sink-or-swim sort of location. There's all sorts of boats that go out in Neptune's Net and go right down to the bottom. In fact, this has been going on for 50 years. The first recorded incidents of this happening was back in 1958. There was a cruise ship called the St. Ave, and it sailed right into Neptune's Net and sank right to the bottom of the sea. No casualties. Not a single casualty.
No casualties?
Nope, not a single casualty. Now, what happened after that was a couple of years later, the Mortimer, another cruise ship, sank right in that location, sank to the bottom of the sea. That was in 1962. In 1967, the Agogo did the same thing. 1973 was the Maximo Dune, really nice cruise ship. They used to go on that all the time, sank right to the bottom. Then there was the Calypso Sea Show in 1977, the Louis Tucket in 1978, the Mirage in 1979. You know, these cruise ships, they love to go to this location. I don't know why. There's something about it. The shininess of the water, all the metal under the water made it magnetically attractive. I don't know what it was.
Well, and there were no casualties.
No, it wasn't a dangerous place except, loss of cruise ship, but everybody's insured these days, so they kept going to these locations. Of course, what you can imagine, all these cruise ships sinking under the water surface build up a giant mound of metal, twisted, stacked on top of one another, and by the time the Neptune set out, and this was in 1980, the Neptune was a cruise ship captained by Grover Garfield, very popular captain, very popular cruise ship, very popular floor show. By the time they set out, this area, Neptune's Net, was essentially a gigantic pile of trash. And when they went into this location, bam, they got stuck right on the hull of the Mirage.
Banquet hall.
Probably where the banquet hall used to be. That's probably what happened. Now, when this occurred, the Neptune, being such a wonderfully popular cruise ship, enticed the people to just stay aboard. I mean, hey, there was no problem. The boat wasn't sinking. It was just sort of stuck right there. So what they did was stay aboard, keep partying, keep eating the buffet, go to the floor show, etc., etc. This went on for a few weeks. They started to run out of supplies, but they had contacts. Other boats came out with supplies. Of course, they all got stuck too. Now, the effect was all these boats getting stuck in the same location. Well, the essential land size of this floating city began to grow, and the people decided, yeah, no, let's just stay out here. In fact, they contracted out to Weird Sky Incorporated, the giant engineering firm, to send a floating habitat barge to this location. Now, a habitat barge is like a giant floating city. It's got all the amenities, parks, restrooms, restaurants, and so forth. They brought their own animals, macaws, bearded macaws, horses, sheep, you name it. They brought it out to this location, and of course it got stuck, but it did enhance the overall vibe of the city. They started calling this location Lost Cruzes. They had their own system of government, they had their own laws, they had their own petting zoos, you know, a real city, as it were.
who was in charge of this city? Surely there was some sort of,
The de facto leader of Lost Cruzes was, of course, Captain Grover Garfield, and he changed his name to the Commodore because, although he was quite entertaining and it was a quite popular fellow, he had a really, really good rapport with all the passengers, he was also a bit of an egomaniac. But he did make all the decisions for Lost Cruzes. In fact, nothing was done without his say-so.
he was the captain of the Neptune, but he was also the main entertainment for the bus, was he not? He, whenever people gathered in the banquet halls, he was the main entertainment for the night, being both comedian and musician and naysayer.
Exactly, comedian, musician, captain, all these things rolled into one. Very popular fellow. So it was quite a blow when in 1983 he actually suffered a massive coronary and nearly died. Now, luckily they saved his life. They put him on life support. You know, all of his functions was essentially nil except for his brain. Now, his brain kept working, and as his brain kept working, he kept making decrees. He kept telling people what they should and should not do. But the only way to interpret these brain signals, because brain signals are essentially electronic beeps and blips, was they had to pass these through a synthesizer. And actually they used an MX555, one of those old analog synthesizer deals they used to run on floor shows, and it actually was very good at interpreting his beeps and bleeps into actual commands.
Requires seriously trained technicians to interpret those signals from that type of system.
Absolutely. He has a team of 4 nurses that wait on him 24 hours a day. And these nurses are actually responsible for interpreting his brain signals into orders for the Council of Representatives on board Lost Cruzes to order more cruise ship bread or tell people how many sharks they can kill in a day and so forth. And there's actually a very popular phrase out on Lost Cruzes: are you keeping up with the Commodore because he's keeping up with you? And people find comfort in that fact, I think.
In a world of constant tragedy, the Commodore is your friend. He will keep you comforted with the messages that he sends. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore's been keeping up with you. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore's been keeping up with you. Are you keeping up? The Commodore's been keeping up with you. Are you keeping up? The Commodore's been keeping up with you. In a world of constant pageantry, where everything's on display, it's nice to see the Commodore on every full Saturday. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore's been keeping up with you. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore's been keeping up with you.
Well, they say that because they broadcast these interpreted signals to the community for them all to hear. Is that right?
That's right. They do broadcast these signals, and it's a way of sort of auditing the process to make sure nothing funny's going on. But people have faith in the system, and they're all happy. Lost Cruzes is a wonderful place to go.
It is a wonderful place. Thanks for coming on, Brian, and telling us about it. I'm not really sure what is going on there currently, but luckily, some of our co-hosts, Charlie Duss and Deepak Halliday, decided to go out there, see what's happening, and they were able to obtain some of these audio recordings from the Commodore's own chamber.
That's right. They sent it on a radio rope to us just this morning, and so we're able to show them on this evening's show for you tonight.
That's what's on the docket for tonight. A live look, or a nearly live look, at what goes on in the Commodore's chamber.
Whoa, hey, intercept that. Intercept it.
I think we've got another message from the Commodore.
Yeah, what the hell just happened?
I just grabbed it all. I think We've got the whole bit.
Do we need to dilute it in the mercury and water saline solution?
No, go ahead and put it in that filter, and let's hear it one more time.
That's what I expected. I think he's having some serious concerns about cruise ship bread.
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear.
You expect we can pass these concerns along and maybe get the bread level count up here? Because soup and bread gotta go together, or else somebody's getting left out in the rain.
If Commodore says it, we're the first in line. That's all I know. What we really need to do is translate that message into words. So I've got something to take to the council.
Now, translation is a complicated process. Before we even get to starting a process like that, I want to make sure that everything's right on the stability of the Commodore. What do you think?
Well, he looks stable to me. The way that message came through, the sporadic nature of it, is a good sign, because that means that he is thinking.
Can you give me an update on the wink or the twitch? Did anything happen physiologically when that message was received?
We got a little bit of a twitch. We did when that message was received, or when it was gathered.
Is that just the Commodore winking at us to say, yeah, you guys are on the job?
It's very possible, but who's to tell until we interpret the message?
Yeah, I tell you, I can't wait. The clever Commodore, so sweetly marinated in his own wit. I tell you, there's a lot of flavor out in the world, but wit is quite a flavor.
Yeah, I concur. But I just don't know what to do with it. I don't have the skills that you have. I can't tangle into some bread and turn it into a nicer piece of bread.
Well, nicer than bread, even.
What's nicer than bread?
Well, say a beautiful puff pastry. It's not bread, but a bread went into that.
Yeah, I can't do anything like that. I'm fully dependent on this Commodore. I got nothing to fall back on. So, oh man, what in the hell did he just say? Silent movies, in his head they sing. He's thinking of all my precious things. I wonder if he can send a message straight down to me. Well, I can't stand it. I can't stand it anymore, anymore, anymore. Oh, well, he's crazy, and I'm sure he's more than dead. But if I can get a message outside of his head, I'll surely believe I have something to bring today.
sensors beeping. What's he say? I mean, what's he think? Commodore, our secrets he's safely keeping. What was that? Did he give a wink? Commodore, he's ordering more root beer for us. Higher pay for the nurses too. Commodore, he's handling our situation, making life smooth for me and you. Commodore, lying still every day. Commodore, what's he think, what's he say? Commodore, our leader you'll always be. Commodore, guiding us out on the sea. Commodore, he's looking like $1 million. $15 million well spent too. Commodore, he's looking like he's living large, living high just for me and you. Commodore, lying still every day. Commodore, what's he think, what's he say? Commodore, leader you'll always be. Commodore, guiding us out on the sea.
If a Commodore is older than you are, he has seniority in life, but old Commodore, what are we gonna do with the messages you send? Anybody got a reading on that yet? 'Cause, oh boy, old Commodore.
I don't delve in those dark arts nearly as well as Gleek does. Did I just call you Gleek? I'm sorry. Gleek. How long have we been working together? 30 years?
Yeah, it's true. It's been a long time. I get it all the time, though. Don't worry.
It's easy to do, from what I hear.
Yeah, it is. But, I mean, I'm over it.
Well, anyways, I know that you're always taking a couple of little hits of the morphine, coming up with some messages. I was wondering if you have you read through the tea leaves of that message we just received?
Well, I did take some of the Commodore's morphine earlier today and inject myself with it. Let me tell you, I feel much more connected with the Commodore right now. In fact, I feel like I could be in bed as well. I think I've interpreted the message correctly.
Is the message have anything to do with what's going on right now, or is it some sort of mystical message?
In fact, it is a mystical and obscure message about some watercraft in the Commodore's distant past. Perhaps even the first watercraft he ever set foot on.
A message.
Indeed.
What you call it? Salty? Savory? Or sweet?
It's a bit salty.
Yeah, a bit salty. But salty's good after you have too much bitter. Cleanses you.
Naval commander, badass gangster, roaming the seas with his cut off top. Follow the straight line into the city. Don't ask me questions, cause I've got my mind made up. Oh, 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 Andy. Oh, 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 you'd be the death of me. Oh, 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 Andy. Oh, 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 I cannot sleep. Oh, 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 Andy. Without you under me, industrial graveyard, a nighttime sleigh dog at the base of a global melting pot. It took us to glory on a weak-ass story. I got my Wendy's and I've got my mind made up. Oh, 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 Andy. Oh, 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 be the death of me. Oh, 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 Andy. Oh, oh, I cannot sleep. Oh, oh, Andy. Be the death of me. Damn, 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 damn. Ralph Andy to the damn, 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 damn. Ralph Andy to the. Under the highway, doing it my way. Apple cider and a phone, me friendship call. He said you're crazy, it'll get you ladies. Might as well, cause I still cannot sleep. Oh, 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 Andy. Oh, 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 be the death of me. Oh, 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 Andy. Oh, 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 I cannot sleep. Oh, Andy. You'll be the death of me.
Just to be clear, the last plane leaving for the coast will be leaving in 14 minutes. And, of course, that's a friendly sky flight. So if you got a couple dollars, you can definitely jump on it and really enjoy yourself.
That's right. fly a goose, you can fly an albatross, if it's what you choose. Fly a parrot, you can fly a hen, you can fly a dinosaur, but be careful where it's been.
Now, I'm not exactly sure what to think about a message that comes out like that. But interpretation is part of my job.
We got a big problem on our hands. We got to keep this under wraps. Hurley, what kind of record keeping do we have?
We've got all the records that you need, but what I'm a little bit concerned about how the public might react to a message, like an interpretation like this.
Well, that's what I'm saying is where are the records stored? Do we have, is there a central depository?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Who else has heard this? Has anybody heard this interpretation as of right now?
No, I keep all the records, and I write them down. I'm pretty diligent about that. I keep them all in one place, and I'm the only one that has them.
Good. So if need be, we could rearrange things.
Well, I'm not sure what you're inferring, but...
I'm not inferring you do anything to break the Hippocratic Oath or anything. I'm just saying we might need to stretch our interpretation to the max.
Well, what matters most is that the Commodore is still alive, and I can see that we can continue that state of being alive for another good while.
Does he really want to die, or is it just his brains, overrun with all the juices and so forth that have been penetrating that glorious section of the man?
Well, we have been keeping him on a steady drip. That's kept his brain pretty well hydrated.
Beef bouillon drip. Of course, you'd have to ask old Clee about that. I don't know what he's been sticking in the needles. The basic problem we got here is we got to make sure our interpretation is accurate with what was just told to us. Let's run it through a cleanup filter and maybe subtract some of the darkness in the background and just see what it spits out.
Yeah, reverse it, go negative on it.
Okay, let's run the inverse on that message there, see what we can come up with there. All right. Here it comes.
Mannequins work. They
Is it safe to say that that's an accurate interpretation? As a doctor, as a nurse, as an employee, is that correct?
Yes, and yes, and yes. Good, correct, safe interpretation of a sporadic message from the Commodore today.
Okay, that's just what he said. That's not really an interpretation, right? I mean, the waves, the message that bounced out of his brain, he just said what he's doing right now, he's killing a farmer and playing with his things. I don't know what to do with that. Can we give him anything? Any kind of I feel like he's maybe running low on juice here. These are like the last lights of flickering, and it's just kind of random nothingness. Is there any other kind of chemical or any kind of energy source that we can put inside this brain, and maybe we can get something a little more cogent out of him?
Well, I do have some chemicals on me that might recharge the brain and get the juices flowing.
But wouldn't it be better to get something really fast? No chemical reaction involved, just bing, bang, zap.
Well, there's only one way to do that. Well, that's to suckle the lightning, of course.
Is that some kind of drug term that I just don't know? What do you mean? Suckle the lightning?
No, if we suckle the lightning, it could recharge the brain.
What does it mean to suckle the lightning?
Well, that's when you grab all the power sources from around the room and you clip them on to the Commodore and all 10, well, I guess 9 of his fingers and toes. All that you can find, and that lightning comes, you gotta cycle it.
Is that supposed to have a positive effect on the Commodore?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of this evening's show. Special thanks goes out to Brian Fabenasa of the Adobe College of the Desert. And for the nursing crew tending to the Commodore, thank you for sending us a peek into your lives. Join us again for this evening's show next time, same place, same time.